What's going on, everybody? This is going to be a little update to my brand new computer. I just put it together last month, so it's maybe a month old now. But I figured since I want to try to get in a routine of cleaning it at least once a month, I figured since I got to take all the panels off of it, get the dust covers off of it, off the top, the bottom, the front, get all the dust covers off of it, clean it off. I figured since it's going to take a little bit of time, make sure they dry properly and everything else, I might as well work on it at the same time while everything's drying and off to the side. So right now what I'm planning on doing is the air cooler for my CPU works perfectly fine. I have no complaints with it. It's keeping the temperatures at bay on the CPU. It's working great. The only downfall of it is since it's so powerful, all the panels on here are basically floating. It just has offsets that's, the panels screw onto, and I mean, this whole case is open all the way around the sides and the front and the back. So because of that fan being so powerful, it's pretty noisy for being an open case. So what I went ahead and did is I went and purchased the Corsair H150i PRO RGB. It's a 360 rad, which is a radiator. I'm going to put on the front here, and I'm just going to, it comes with 3 fans, but they're not RGB fans. So the only thing that's RGB on this is the actual pump itself. So, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to take the fans completely off, but I'm going to, once I get this up behind, I'm going to unscrew each fan individually and remount them with the rad behind the fans. So the fans won't get unplugged, the sequence won't be off, and I'll be able to utilize the same exact fans, which I don't hear. The only fan I really hear is that air cooling fan on the CPU itself, which, like I said, it's a great fan. So what I'm planning on doing is on my son's PC build here, he's running an AMD Ryzen CPU, which Ryzen comes with its own stock fan that comes with the CPU. So what I'm going to do is take that fan off and then put this one in this build. So this here already comes with thermal paste on it, but I'm going to go ahead and wipe that off and use my own thermal paste. So I figured since I got to clean the thermal paste off of this, off the CPU, off the fan, I'll clean the thermal paste off of this and then reapply my own thermal paste back to the rad onto the CPU. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. I already got the glass cleaner here for all the panels. I got the cotton swabs and alcohol here, so when I get down to actually taking this apart, I can clean it off. I already got my static band just in case I feel like I might need it. I've already got all my screws and all that, all the bits and pieces, and I also got more Velcro strips here for all the cable management on this. The only thing I might need to do, depending on how far this SATA connection can reach, I'm hoping it can reach down to where my hard drives are at. If not, I'm going to have to go find another SATA cable, try to reach in there, plug it into my hard drive, and try to run it up through. I guess I'll see and get to that point when I get to that point. So, or I'll see what happens when I get to that point. That's what I'm trying to say. So, I'm going to go ahead and start ripping this down, cleaning it off, and I'll be right back with you guys. Okay, so now as you can see, I got all the panels off. Got the panel off the front, panel off the side, top, and the other side as well. I just cleaned off all the panels and dusted off the dust filters. So what I'm going to have to probably end up doing is there's some SATA connections right down in here. I'm not sure if I have any. I'm going to have to run up and find my other cords, but I do need to possibly run another SATA up and out unless one of these is actually able to reach. I think there's one right behind here. If so, that might work. I don't know. I'll have to see and find out. So, is this one here for the hard drives attached to one, I think down in here. I might have to see about running that straight up because I know I got one down here for my SanDisk, then one up in here for this, for my hard drive, and also for my Commander Pro to be hooked up into. So I'm going to have to try to get it to where, I think these two are off the same SATA, so I'm going to have to try to get it to where, you know, the two connections are right in here, and then the third one, I think, hopefully I can reach it up top here to where this here can reach. So, I do have to take this back plate off, which I have right here. So, as you can see, that'll go in like that. This plate here will come off. This one will replace that. And then, of course, I need to take the bracket off for this and go ahead and replace it with the other, and then the rad will sit right behind these fans here. These screws here, let me get it out, here we go. So these longer screws here are supposed to go through, I don't know if you guys can really see that or not, it's a little bit longer, supposed to go through the fan and just clip onto, you know, just thread into the rad right behind to hold it in place. So I am going to go ahead and set this on its side. Put that back in there. I'm going to go ahead and set this on its side so that way I can get the fan off of there, the CPU fan, and get that off, get that bracket off, clean the thermal paste off of everything, flip it onto the side, this side, get that back plate off the back of the motherboard, and replace it with the new back plate. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will be back with you here shortly. So yeah, I forgot I needed to have this little adapter here, like a little socket. Get them nuts off of the, not the nuts, but the screws that hold the back plate together. Alright, so I got the back plate put on, took the old one off, got the standoffs ready to go, so that way this plate right here will actually fit down snug on the pump of the rad here. So this will basically lock that into place and onto like that. There we go. It's locked on. It won't come off. As you can see here, I'm holding on to it now. So now all I got to do is just mount the rad in here. Then I can adjust this. I'm going to clean the thermal paste off of this first. And then I can actually mount the rad in, get this plugged in or hooked in, and I can run these cables through the back so that way they're not seen, hopefully, too bad. I need to see. It is up towards the top of the motherboard. I might be able to squeeze things in. I'm going to take the back cover off here for my cable management, this little cable trough, and see exactly where my SATA connections are, so that way I can get that set up and ready to go. So that way, hopefully, I don't have to rerun a whole new cable from the power supply and up. So go ahead and take this off, and hopefully it won't be too bad to get back on. Alright, so I was able to get the cable management back to where it needs to be to get the cover on. I just test fitted it. I did have to readjust the SATA connection here, so that way the Commander Pro, the hard drive, and then this RAD will all be able to plug into. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this back over so that way I can start taking the screws out of the fans one by one and replacing it with the longer screws, starting to get that rad in. I also need to get that thermal paste off of here real quick while I'm thinking about it. So yeah, as you can see, it already had thermal paste pre-applied straight out of the box. So if you don't want to use their thermal paste, you want to use your own because you like using that, make sure you clean it off first before you assemble it. That way you're not misled by stuff. So. Alright, so what I went ahead and did, I took out the top left screw of the top fan and the bottom right screw out of the bottom fan. That way the radiator is mounted on there flush and not flush but aligned. So now I can take the rest of the screws out and I'll be able to replace them pretty easily. Side note, if you're doing this, don't tighten the screws up too much. I heard of people actually ruining the rad, tighten the screws down too much, and it basically just ripped the side out of the rad, and it was junk. So just snug down the screws, make sure it won't go anywhere, make sure it won't rattle, and you should be good to go. Don't crank down on them. You can ruin it, and it's just money down the drain. So just keep that in mind, and you should be okay to go. Alright, so I just mounted the rad in there. I got all 12 screws in. Fans aren't going anywhere. The rad's in place. Good to go. So now, what I'm going to be needing to do is, I've also got a USB cable here. So that way it can be read by Corsair link. That way it's all linked together with the fans and so on and so forth. So basically this will be plugged in down at the bottom. I don't know if I'll have enough room to be able to run it through and out the back or not, which I don't think I will. I don't think the cable's going to be long enough. Although it'll be pushed pushing it. I'm gonna see if I can take it through the back and down and out through the bottom. But with seeing as the USB is down here in the middle of the motherboard, I don't think it's going to be long enough. I might have to run it along the back side or even down the front side of the motherboard, straight down behind underneath the graphics card. That way it's kind of hidden and out of the way. I think it should be long enough if I did it that way. I don't know. I'll figure something out, but either way, this has got to go from the top of the motherboard to the bottom of the motherboard. Try to hide it. So, see if we can make that happen. I also want to, since I got this apart, I'm going to restructure these wires that are just kind of hanging down the bottom of this thing. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and get the cables out of the way here. See if this will fit, which it does, which is very, very nice. See if I can get these hoses to reach up out of the way. Should be good to go. So I can't really do anything with the cables yet until I actually get this mounted in, I think. Because the only cables I really need off of this is the SATA. And actually, I need to plug in the SATA cable for the power, and also the 3-pin for the AIO. The pump. Let me see if I can find that here. It's kind of hard to see upside down. So once I find that, I'll be right back with you. Alright, so I do have a test fitted in. It's not mounted down. I don't have the thermal paste on it yet. I just wanted to make sure all the cables can be hidden and reach for power. I still don't have the USB cable on it yet though. I still need to do that. What I'm thinking I might be able to do is run it down behind the graphics card here. And it should be pretty hidden, hopefully, to the connection point. It's not that long of a cable, so I might be able to get away with it. So I think that's what I'll end up doing. But I want to get all the other stuff hooked up and mounted before I put this. Alright, so as you see, I just put the thermal paste on. I put all 4 of the screws, the lock screws on top. I'm going to do the same thing as you're always supposed to do. You go in a star pattern. I'm going to work, which would be the top right if you looked at it upright. But for me right now it's the bottom left. Then I'll go to the top right, then the bottom right, and then top left. And once I get all of them turned about 10 turns each, then I can go in a circular motion to make sure it all gets done. You kind of want to go corner to corner instead of left side and then right side, so that way it comes down evenly throughout the board. Alright, so I got that mounted in. That's not going to go anywhere. So I can go ahead and lift her back on up here. And I already got the cables fed through to the back. I got the cable to fan out for 3 fans. I'm going to have that hidden in the back where you can't see it. I do have a little cubby here I can just kind of push it up into, and you can't see it from the back, and you shouldn't really be able to see it from the front either, but I'll make sure you can't before I actually close it all up. So go ahead and hook up the SATA power here. Once I do that, I should be able to get that trough put back on. But I really won't do that until I get everything else all done. I need to go ahead and plug in, as everything wobbles on the table. I need to put this, bring it back under and around so that way it's hidden. Plug it into the AIO pump. Like that. So that cable should be pretty much hidden. This one I need to take up and around if I can. See if I can get it to stay back in there. Should be good. And I got the SATA. Put that on there as well. Honestly, I might have to be able to go ahead and strap these cables down to something so that way they stay up and out of the way. Yeah. I'm going to strap them to the fan cables. A little Velcro strip, that way if you need to change something you can just pull it right apart. Actually, you know what? I'm going to see how this looks when I can get the cables actually pulled tight. So I got the SATA cable plugged in. But this other one, I don't know if I'll be able to hide that somewhere. See if I can hide that somewhere here. Actually, where it's at is up and out of the way. It's pretty hidden. I just wish there was a way being able to keep them cables there without it coming off. There's no tie down. Well, is there? No. There's nothing really to tie down to at the top. Oh well. Alright, now I need to try to get this USB plugged in. So I already got the SATA hooked up, so that's good. So it's got power. I just need to get it to where it can work with the Corsair link by USB. Alright, so I got the cables management in the front and also in the back for the time being. So what I'm going to do is just make sure I got everything good. Alright. Now the moment of truth, I'm going to plug it back in, turn it on, and see if it works. Alright, here goes nothing. Well, do I have, I got lights, okay. Alright, let's hope. Got lights on all the fans. And there we go. Alright, so I don't have the covers put back on. I don't have the glass panels or the dust covers on it yet. But as it stands right now, I got all three these fans still in sequential order. Going to these two fans. I almost put my finger in it. That wouldn't have been cool. And then, as you can see, Corsair RGB. And then that's pushing off a lot of air through that thing. I can feel, but it is running a lot quieter now. Just with the 6 fans. Like I said, this air cooler, the Cooler Master 212 Hydro, I think it was, Hyper, something like that. Sounds like I got. Almost sounds like I got a cable. Almost sounds like there's a cable on one of these fans. Alright, I need to figure out where that noise is coming from because it wasn't there earlier. And I'll be right back with you. Okay, so seeing as to how I've never had liquid cooling before in an AIO, what it was that I was hearing, it wasn't any of the fans. What it was actually the liquid going through the pump. I can still hear it a little bit, but it's gotten a lot quieter. So I'm hoping over time it'll get it all, like all the kinks worked out of it. So let me get this thing put back together, and we'll see how it looks with everything that I just did, with it all buttoned up, with all the dust covers and tempered glass panels put back on it. Alright guys, so I just went ahead and I cleaned it all up, made sure there's fingerprints and stuff for the most parts off of it. And let's go ahead and power it on and see what it looks like with all the glass put back on. Alright, so there you have it. Got it all put back together and in sequential order here. And you can see the Corsair is also lit up. Now of course, as soon as I put the glass panel back on, I noticed some of the cables came off right there. Wow. Alright, well, I'll take this panel back off and go ahead and redo that cable. But yeah, the only downside about this is now the glow from the RGB fans aren't shining into the case there. So, you know what that means, right? Possible future upgrade with RGB lighting strips. Yes. Don't know. That's just a thought I've been throwing around. Probably for the future upgrade. But, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is a lot quieter now compared to what it used to be. So, because like I said, all these panels here are just free floating with all the standoffs. I mean, every single one of these panels, you can feel the air going and sucking into the case. So because of that, with this air cooler, with how powerful it was, you can just hear it through the, all the openings of the case and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and put it into my son's computer, which is completely enclosed except for the air holes. So it should be quieter, and he'll have a lot better of a cooling fan inside that case then as well. So, but anyhow, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's just a little bit of an upgrade. And with this panel on here, I don't hear the liquid noise going through there anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and power it down, take this panel back off, redo them cables that are above the memory right there, as you can see right there, which are the ones that I was kind of worried about. And then I'll get her all plugged back in and actually attempt to maybe do a live stream tonight. I don't know. I got some rendering to do with this video and also another video I recorded throughout today. So I got a lot of work ahead of me tonight. So and it's already 10 o'clock. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If so, leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to turn on that little bell notification. So that way whenever I go ahead and post something like this or do a live stream, you'll be the first one to get notified. So thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good day, good night, good evening, whatever it is. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.